This is Colin Dixon with N-Screen Media, and I'm at OTT TV World Summit in London speaking to Paul Kempton, who is Managing Director of Footprint Music. Paul, just tell us who Footprint Music is.
Well, we're a media and music consultancy. We deal with rights, so we're not a creative bunch, but we are a business bunch. So we do deals for people to use music and protect themselves against liabilities. And
this is something that I think we don't think about enough in advance with video productions. Tell us about why we really need to be thinking about the music up front from the very beginning.
Well, it's very important for a couple of reasons. First of all, liability, because if you use something that belongs to someone else without their permission, there's got to be a problem somewhere down the line.
Yep.
Secondly, cost, because it's important to understand at the beginning as much as you can. And we're in difficult new territory now, but you need to understand as much as you can what it's going to cost, even if you don't go and clear it now.
Right. And it turns out with music, it's not, the license rights aren't handled in the same way as we handle, as the video is handled, right? You can get cleared for multiple platforms, and in some cases you can get global rights for a video. You can't do that with music, can you?
You can't. And one of the great sort of things that is a bit scary for people using music is not so much understanding what the copyrights are, understanding there's a composition, there are many recordings, cover versions of that composition that may need to be clear. I mean, people understand on the whole that there's something that needs to be cleared. The real issue is around how it's administered, the way in which it's administered. Even collectively, you get all sorts of it's very territorially driven.
Yep.
Still, so there isn't really a sort of one-stop shop possibility at the moment. One place you can go and clear your content for distribution, multi-territory, multimedia. It's all fragmented.
And you gave a very scary example of somebody that took on the burden of clearing the music rights, but didn't follow through before they committed to a business plan.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was deliberately scary, but true. And in the old sort of world of broadcasting and retransmission, where a broadcaster, one of our clients, had gone and got a platform deal in one of the Nordic territories, and had come back feeling pretty pleased themselves. They got a good CPS. It was a good deal for them, but they had to agree to bear the music rights for the local retransmission. And they said, "What's that going to cost? What does that entail?" And once we'd looked at it, we discovered that it accounted for 30% of their income.
Oh my goodness!
For clearing effectively background music.
Oh my goodness!
So it didn't feel so good then.
No, I bet it didn't. So as I think about productions and licensing, tell me what should I be thinking about with music, and how should I approach it?
Well, clearly, if you're making something, you realise that if you're going to be using a piece of music, the chances are there are copyrights attached to it. And even if you want to use something that you think or believe to be out of copyright because it's in the public domain, a bit of Mozart, for instance, you're still going to be using a recording of that. And the recording is almost certainly going to be in copyright. So you might not have to clear the composition, but you're going to have to clear the recording. Now, if you're making, if you're actually the producer of content, you're probably going to have to go to the label, and if it's in copyright, if the composition's in copyright, go to the publisher or publishers, because there can be any number of publishers depending on how many composers there are. There are schemes if you're commissioned to make content for, say, BBC, ITV, other terrestrial channels, where you may well be covered under their own blankets. Mm-hmm. But otherwise there is a sort of central scheme in the UK anyway for independent producers called the IPC. But in many cases you will have to go away and clear those rights individually with the publishers on behalf of the composers and the labels on behalf of the artists. It's doable, it's a bit time consuming. You need to understand what the budget's likely to be, and believe you me, most budgets are zero. We'd like to use this piece of music. What's your budget? Well, we haven't really got anything. Yeah. So, can we have Robbie Williams for £1,000? No, you can't. So, this is why all these things are important to understand at the pre-planning and planning stage, because you either, it doesn't mean you don't try the impossible. It's always worth giving it a go, but then you have something ready in reserve.
Right. So, looking forward, are things getting better? Is the music industry modernising its license practices so that we can, in the media business, we can license once and for multiple territories?
It's not really. I mean, it's hard to sort of have a broad brush approach to this. Certainly, when it comes to audio-only services, there is quite a lot happening, and data is so important in all this now.
Sure.
Because it's not just a question of licensing and being paid. It's what do you then do with the money? They're all these agencies, whether they're collecting societies or other special purpose vehicles, are there to distribute the money to the rights holders.
Yeah.
And data is absolutely key to that. So, and there's been a huge effort. There's a PRS gamer and one or two, I think, STIM collaboration called ICE Rights, which is active in the online audio world and is moving into the audiovisual market. But that's still only giving you partial repertoire. It's not giving you... So you might get multi-territory clearance, but not for 100% of what you're using.
Right.
So it's still fragmented, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, well, it sounds like you're going to continue to be very busy.
Well, we hope so. It's what we do, it's what we enjoy, and it's about trying to find the right solutions.
Great. Paul, thank you for telling us about the issues.
Thank you.
This has been Colin Dixon with End Screen Media.